Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, Muddy, in the UK. You all are back with the crew. We got El Capitan, we got the B-Man. How you doing, Dad?
Fantastic little morning I'm having here. Yeah, doing
Excellent.
well. How about you, son? How's
Yeah,
your day going so far?
so good. I got friends and family and a ton of work going this week, and I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, yeah. So Christmas at your place this year?
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
my other parents rolled into town
Okay.
here last night. They're already out having fun and getting it all done here on the Central Coast.
Yeah,
Um,
great.
really good to see them, and yeah, I'm excited to be here with you guys here on this Sunday, and we also have special guest coming in with us a little bit later, Melody Wright, and
Can't wait.
excited to talk to her. And I wrote down some questions my dad was talking about, things that she knows, and we also want to talk about how we can potentially help her out with some hurricane relief and
Mhm.
what she's all been through. How's everybody doing in the chat today? Let's sound off, crew. We got Shirley, we got Muddy, we got my good friend Pete Lynn aboard. Viking Cat, always good to see you. Guten Morgen. Joseph, much love, brother. I think we have Secret Weapon is here with
No.
us. He's not on bourbon retreat or nothing. He's here with us. So
Yeah,
yeah, let's
but
get
suburban
serious.
taste.
Let's get serious here. Let's go.
Look at yeah, he's good. Brent's got the shirt on for sure.
But yeah, it could be a good year. Could be a good year for us, everybody.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we're almost at 2025. Holy smokes.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
actually excited about this coming year. Does anybody else really feel that versus like years past? It's like, oh boy, what's going to happen? This is insane.
You're less than excited?
I'm very excited.
Oh, very excited.
Very
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Never been excited for a new year like this. Not just because of investments and things, but just, man,
Right, right.
good times are coming.
Yeah, that's right. I'm I'm excited about this year too. I think I thought I was talking about this with Jimmy in the show last Thursday night. Those of you who have not seen it, so it was a good episode. You can feel it. It's almost like this, everything that's kind of happening, and it's happening in like mainstream too. It's weird. I'm hearing it from mainstream people because we don't watch mainstream TV. So it's like, wow, they did that, and this whole bill over this whole last week to where it was like 1,500 pages, and they cut 1,400 pages of excess spending out of it. And I was like, what? Like they didn't get away with criminal acts in Congress? You're kidding me. Like somebody caught them? It's like they were all getting pay raises, and one part of it actually said that they couldn't look into all their emails. Like, don't you work for us? What do you mean we can't look at your emails? Like who gets that privilege? It's like, wait a minute. Whoa.
No. We're looking at your emails. Okay. That's,
Right.
like, well, that
Yeah.
would be a privacy thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, privacy. That went out the window
Only Hillary
10
Clinton
years
gets away with
ago,
that.
for us. So
I think she hit it with a hammer, her computer or something, get rid of her emails, flushed it in the toilet.
yeah.
She was trying to get rid of them. I remember that, but and they
Mhm.
never came out from what I remember. So I don't know. Anyway, they get special privilege. Yeah. Anyway, that got voted out from what. So I don't know. Maybe there's hope for some of the political shenanigans, we'll call it.
Some accountability. Whoa.
Yeah.
Dang.
I have a serpent here.
Yeah.
Serpent here this morning.
The
Shorty.
rattler.
Those of you who have not met Shorty,
Shorty.
that's Shorty, our little spider monkey. And she's doing well. Life is good for Shorty. You know, she's a house cat. Everybody else has to, you know, earn their keep. She's the princess around here. Yeah.
Yeah. Go hunting or at least sleep outside on a comfortable couch chair.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wow. We had a hard time last Thursday night. I tried to get a whole show into like an hour, and it was like an hour and 20 minutes long. And I got off the show with Jimmy, and I said, yeah, we need to do like at least one of these a month. And he said, no, a couple of weeks. Everything's changing so rapidly and what's coming this next year. Just stuff he knows from the inside, you know, about banking and all of that. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. He's the guy that offered a shorter time period. I was like, okay. Yeah. That'd be fantastic for me. Every 2 weeks I could have Jimmy, and then every 2 weeks I could have April. Man, my Thursday schedules would be a breeze. But yeah, it'd be fun. I'm looking forward to it. He's such a wealth of knowledge, and there's so many. Those of you who have XRP, there's a lot coming, guys. There's a lot coming from the, how do I say, the presidential side, the legislative side, and a lot even bigger picture than that, believe it or not. There's some really fun stuff. We touched on it a little bit in that show. And then I was talking to Sean, the other, secret weapon, if you will. Actually, wait, what is his nickname again, actually?
Oh, the legend.
The legend. How do I forget the legend?
Yeah, so just remember his red velvet coat, it amongst a group of people in monkey suits. That's how I locked it in. Yeah. AKA the investigator, AKA the Baron of Beach Street. Check him out on Baron of Beach Street, and man, talk to that guy if you haven't.
Yeah.
Sean cares
had him on, but
a great deal.
We had him on, but we need to get him back on for sure.
Yeah, we do.
He and I know something that is kind of the same thing, only we heard it from different angles. And when you get that, okay, you're like, okay, I know this really cool story, but I can't tell anybody about it, but it's about XRP. And when you know that, you're like, oh, wow, I got to keep that under my, oh, man, I have a YouTube channel. That's what I want to talk about, but I can't. So, okay, I promised I would. All right. And then I'm on the phone with somebody, the legend, and he's telling me, oh, yeah, everything. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, man. Where'd you hear all that? And he's like, oh, it was in our private group. And I'm like, well, I thought that I had to keep all that private. How many people are in the group? Like 100. Yeah. Well, it isn't that private of information then that he and I's stories like really leveled each other's knowledge as far as what's going on in the background, and all that to tease everybody that I can't talk about it, but I will tell you that it's going to be really, really big, and it's going to be very obvious. I'm going to say by February 1st. Yeah. Real obvious to everybody. So
awesome.
And those of you who did not catch Jake's live stream, somebody sent it to me, and I started watching it, and they said, you got to go to this minute. And Jake said, this is what Jake said. I was like, well, maybe, it's that time of year. Maybe he'd had a couple of cocktails. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't prove it, and we can't deny it. So I was like, he said, what? I even backed it up again and I went, you what?
Mhm.
He said in his live stream, $100 XRP by the end of the year.
Jeepers creepers.
And I was like, okay, all right. Maybe he knows something I don't know. But if what I knew was going to happen maybe before the end of the year, that could happen. I could see those numbers occurring that quick a time. But from what I know, it's not going to happen until the end of January. So, and I didn't just say that I think it's going to be $100 by the end of January. That's not what I just said. I didn't say that. He said that.
No.
I don't want 50 comments about you told me.
you mean like this, Dad?
When moon.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to jump into the comments here. Is 50,000 good enough to make $1 million this cycle, Alan? So it would need to go to $20, obviously, because I graduated high school math. But I didn't make it past that. No way. This chimp's monkeys still touch the ground. So $20 price point at the cycle. I mean, XRP is the strange one, because I think all of us and everything that we're looking at, everything you just talked about, everything that you and Sean teased me with is, is really bullish. I feel like after, as the adoption comes of XRP specifically, all of the charts seem to indicate somewhere between 15 and 16, and that's what everybody's called for. Yeah. But now it just feels like there's so many different little things that could happen that who knows? I mean, honestly, I'd be shocked if a handful of people knew of a solid idea of what that's going to be or look like. I know, I'm sure people like Brad and others have an idea, but this thing's going places. I'm
going to say this. I could say this about what I know, and I think I can talk about it, because Jimmy and he almost talked about it. And that's in the middle of the video. I go, are we going there? Are we going to talk about that? And he's like, well, he had a big smile on his face. Like, no, let's not go there. So I was kind of reading him as it went. I'm just going to say this so you guys can all hear it. What if somebody was to open up 160 million XRP wallets? What would that do to XRP in a very short period of time? That's kind of what I'm talking about. So what would that do? And let's remember, the minimum to open a wallet is 20 XRP coins. Now, that, because it's kind of an inside deal, they could drop that down. I don't know. But you understand that's the kind of like instant demand that could be poured upon the ledger, the XRPL. So when that, that's what we were talking about, essentially. I can't talk about why or what they're going to do with it or how they're going to use it or any of that stuff. But essentially that came out in their private group. Yeah. So, and no, I'm not going to post the private group.
That's good.
Number one, I don't know it. It's Sean's private group. It's not mine. So, yeah.
That's Boss's quote.
Yeah.
There's it's cool that it's really cool to start talking to everybody and the different projects and ideas and other subgroups that everybody's building. Real estate comes to mind. Like private funds, like things that like what Reaper's doing. Like just there's so many different projects that are going to be popping up on XRPL. Dude, there's like so much news. There's so much news this year, and we ain't even in 25 yet. So, man, super bullish on this, guys. So excited.
And Blackrock had that big announcement yesterday. Friday. They had the big announcement Friday that everybody, if you can fog a mirror, should have a 2% allocation to Bitcoin. That's the largest fund in the world. They just came out publicly again and said, if you have any interest in this, and then they discussed why. And the reasons behind it was because that 2% will make up for all your other bad investments over the next 10 years. You don't need half your portfolio in XRP or Bitcoin. You only need a couple, 2, 3, 5%. And it's going to grow at such an astronomical rate that it's going to fortify the rest of your losses or the rest of your accounts. And anyway, it's a really big deal. And there's a lot of people who aren't paying attention to it, and nobody in the media is covering it. And it's really kind of frustrating at times, but how is it the media will follow everything Larry Fink says when it's about ESG and the environment that he talked about for 10 years. But now when he's talking about every single day, you need 2% of this in your portfolio, that they don't want to put it on the news. So it's, in that sense, it's very frustrating for anybody in crypto. But on the other hand, it just reeks of when the S curve happens, when the adoption happens, it's going to be a ridiculous amount of people. It's going to be a panic for the exit or entrance in this case. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with that said,
we're gonna welcome in Melody here in just a second, everybody.
Great.
Quick out of the crew. Good morning from Japan. Good morning, Power Section. Frankie, always good to see you. What up, fam? Polygon in the house. Let's see.
And we have everybody in
here. Good morning, Victor. All right. Without further ado, let's pull in our girl here.
Good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody?
We're doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We're happy to have you.
The IQ of the Staple show just went up, doubled right now, just now.
Yeah.
We need some great expertise and some financial help here this morning.
Okay.
But what we're going to ask of you is first, what we really want to talk to you about is what's going on in your neck of the woods. Now, you and I had a conversation, I want to say about a month ago.
I think longer, actually.
Oh, has it been? Well, time flies.
It does.
I said, I think in that video, I was going to do a follow-up in a couple of weeks, but weeks fly by.
Mm-hmm.
So let's catch everybody up to what that show was and where we stand today. How's it look around your neighborhood, and how are things going?
Yeah, so Alan, I wish I had some good news to share for this holiday season, but unfortunately, when we first talked, it was really about how shocking the lack of initial response was, and the fact that we didn't have a lot of first response to the way that I had seen perhaps maybe in Katrina or Sandy. And then, but even me, at that point, I thought surely as people become aware of what's happening out there and post the election, because I felt like the whole thing got politicized. And so you couldn't actually talk about what was happening without somebody making it political. So I thought surely after the election, things would change. We'd see the Corps of Engineers showing up because when you talk to these people in Appalachia, this event was not a hurricane. It was a geological event, meaning it changed the geography. Like it took out mountains. It changed the course of rivers and streams, as well as, the loss of life, but, and the still missing. So what I found super shocking, Alan, as I continue to drive to these places, I was there in the early days as well, driving around. And what's shocking is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And maybe there's a few areas and this is let me just tell you how confusing this can be. So I was in Asheville 3 weeks ago visiting a friend. We took a tour of Biltmore Village, and we took a tour of the River Arts District. And I was like, oh, wow, like they've had some real help. This looks so much better. Well, I went back this week with a somebody who had been there since 2 hours, basically doing search and recovery in that area. And he took me behind the barricades, and he took me to places that other people just don't know about when you're a tourist, or even the person I was with in that first trip. They have a second home that they've had it there for 20 years. But when I went with him, it looked worse than Baghdad. And that is no exaggeration. You can go on my Twitter feed and see a turned over ambulance that has been abandoned and now decorated for Christmas. The amount of debris, and this guy with the search and recovery commander that I was with, he's a vet. And I asked him, I'm like, how do the war zones compare to what you're seeing? And he said, I've seen cleaner war zones. And I mean, and so that's just one location. So, and then you go, I've been going out with these teams, and I'm so grateful for them because everybody just doesn't realize how difficult it can be when you can't get a death certificate to move on with your life. And so there's so much work to be done. And all of these areas look like war zones. And the debris is just, I can't even imagine what it feels like waking up every day and just seeing, you can't move on from this storm because you're just seeing debris. So one gentleman who I'm really trying to help right now, his name is Jim Davis. His family had been on their land for 140 years. His 8-foot stream in his backyard has become a 40-foot wide creek with a debris field in his backyard. I mean, and no one's come to help him. The water back there is rust iron colored. And he got his 750 and a couple of hotel vouchers, and the Red Cross gave him a hot tent, which is what he's living in right now. I just posted that on my Twitter, but this guy just needs help. He needs people to come remove the debris. He can't do it. He's even a general contractor, but I think he's more focused right now on going out and helping other people. And they found, so there was a family up the road. This was in Fairview, North Carolina, in a cove. 11 people died out of that family, out of one family. And 2 of those people they found on his property. And so they're just, the stories are unbelievable. And we haven't heard many of them because this is just being suppressed. And so things aren't better. We need volunteers. So many people are packing up because it's cold right now. And also because the municipalities are telling people they don't need help anymore, which makes 0 sense. And it feels like perhaps that's a message from somewhere else, because it's hard to believe that these local community leaders would care so little for their constituents. And this is why it's really important to me that I tell all of you across America, because maybe something like this hasn't happened to you yet. Maybe you haven't been around a forest fire or any of this, but no one's coming for you. No one is coming. That this just isn't how we operate anymore as a country. If we look, we just saw Lahaina aid just get approved like a few days ago, and that was over a year ago. So it is important you know your neighbors. It is important you stand up for your community. It is important that you go out and you go to those local city council meetings. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself completely abandoned the way that these over 7 states, and it's not just North Carolina and Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina have been ravaged by the storm and then abandoned by their governments, both local, state, federal, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know somebody in Georgia area that got pretty well hit too.
I forget Georgia. Yeah, Augusta got decimated.
Augusta, that's right.
Yeah, and you can see their delinquency. The other stuff I do is housing and mortgage finance, but you can see the delinquency in all of these impacted areas is skyrocketing. So this is a huge economic event that people just aren't talking about either.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, all of that needs to be rebuilt, and you would just think that would be an opportunity for all of thinking economically again.
Right.
You would think there'd be an opportunity to go in, and didn't we just pass $1 trillion for infrastructure? Wasn't that long ago? I mean, what did we do with that? Where'd that go?
All those projects are on pause. Like I honestly wonder if the money is really there, because you just had Intel say we haven't gotten a check and we were promised. And so it's very odd to me that we say we can print all this money, but in reality, where is it? Because it's not actually being spent on the things they said. So
yeah, I haven't noticed any bridges or roads getting fixed around my place either.
Well, look at the Baltimore Bridge, right?
They love to run on the pothole, platform. Yeah, we're gonna fix all the potholes. Yeah, they're always there. Yeah.
We always on here. We always talk about the big positive, the big plus to blockchain is accountability. And what you bring up is so important, Melody, because it's the conversation that we're all kind of having with each other, people, ground level, us, like our families, our friends, everyone that we're connected to. That's real. That's what's real in this world. And yeah, I mean, even in our chat right now, it's like, did they use this to launder more money? Did they use this to allocate it to something else? And you get into that infrastructure bill. That's probably the bill that I've read the most on in my life. And there's a whole lot of other stuff in there that, it's a really cool name for it. It's a really, we would love to have an infrastructure fund and all that. And you had me thinking, we have friends, and I got to visit Asheville a few years ago, and that seemed to be kind of the point of focus for everyone in the national media and news. And it's so sad because it's one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. It reminds me of the town that I live in here in California. It's very much like Asheville, geographically. The township itself, how it was built out, all their culture. And then to go, like, I've been to places like where you live, and it's just wonderful. And we haven't forgot about you. And if we can have something like this, it's all about creating opportunity to help our community. And so we're going to be having links in here, everybody, to be able to give if you want to give, and help out your fellow people. So I'm so
that's amazing.
And I should that you're opening up to us about what's going on, and it's just because it's not in the news anymore right now. It's on our mind still.
And I should say that the XRP community has paid for 8 kids' Christmas so far, area kids. So that's awesome. That was, in that initial show that we had, Alan, and through the work of Becky Forbes, who I see is in the chat, we were able to give 8 kids Christmas that wouldn't have it. And, so that's amazing. And there is just so much need out there, but every dollar really counts. And so I'm so thankful that I can talk about this, because I can tell you, I kind of feel like a crazy person because this is all I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
And most everyone else is like, they've moved on in the news cycle. And there's just so many stories of, parents gone, children gone, just people trying to pick up, and it's just the double wound of a lot of people came down here to help, and they really had good intentions, but because you didn't have a command structure and you didn't have organization, you had a lot of chiefs and not a lot of Indians, to use that old, but, and so people went home frustrated because they didn't know, no one was giving good direction. And so that's another thing I'm working on. I think, Alan, maybe, I don't know if you know, but I had a technology background as well. And so I'm trying to create a database as well as a website where we can kind of a ticketing system. There's still people that haven't been back to their homes because they can't even get up there. So just a ticketing system so that we can match the supplies to where they're needed. Because right now you could go over to one local church, and they have all the food you want, but no propane. And then you can go somewhere else, 60 miles away, and they have all the propane and no food. And there's no one place because FEMA's not doing its job. There's no command structure to it's just local efforts, people on the ground on Facebook. One big need we have, because Tyson is giving a ton of food, is a refrigerated truck. You can't, just to rent one of those is $3,000 a month. So there's just so much need, and it's enormous. Kind of the charity that we're talking about today, or that we're going to put the links, this is called Coalition for Kids. And they've been here for 20 years in this area. They're not tourists, they're not visitors. And they've been clothing and educating and feeding over 800 kids every school day for a long time. And that's so amazing. These are the folks that truly understand. The pastor is from, the guy who runs it, it's an offshoot of a church, is from Mountain City, Tennessee. He's a local. And I just can't emphasize, there were so many people that came down with all the best intentions. I really believe that. But unfortunately, they made a lot of promises to this area that they did not deliver on. And so now these people have a double wound, and it's so sad to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got concerned about, because winter was coming, and everybody's cold, and then they don't have anywhere to live. And then you're like, well, they need freezers, which is such a strange, crazy mix, because they need a freezer for the food, but then everybody needs coats and jackets and things just to stay warm.
Exactly.
But helping kids is such an important thing. As we all can reflect on our lives, when you look back and you say, what were those moments in your life that you remember as a kid? Well, events like this, those kids will talk about this hurricane and what happened to them the rest of their life. And they will know that, and that it'll be a big part. And how they came out of it, positively or negatively, if you will, it's going to be huge. And you must see, you've already told some heartbreaking stories. I just can't even imagine what it's like to how do you look people in the face that are starving and cold and just walk away? It's like, how do you have the toughest job in the world right now. You must. Yeah.
You can't walk away, and it takes a toll on your mental health. And that's kind of what I mean by, I think a lot of people came because they wanted to help, and it took a toll on them. And so you had a lot of people, some of the people that came are the ones who have had hard times themselves. And I think, unfortunately, because they couldn't help in the way they wanted to, and they got so frustrated by not being able to help, it did some bad psychological damage to those folks as well, that had to return home just, messed up with the images. And you talk to these search and one of my buddies, Travis from Real Estate Mindset, he's just out there with the search and recovery every day, and talked to a young kid who said, 21 years old, maybe I wouldn't pick up this sword if I knew what I was going to see. And, the youngest survivor he retrieved was 3 years old, and he can't get those images. And so now you have all these people that are impacted, as well as all the volunteers that came down here. And it's kind of, I watched one of the hearings that the state Senate did. He said something like over 16,000 volunteers came from across the country to North Carolina. That's insane, and that's awesome. But then that's 16,000 people who also, I guarantee you, don't feel very good right now. So it is a hard job, and there's not many people that can do it. And I have good days and really, really bad days. But it's important I think it's really important that people understand. And if you don't have money, but you have a weekend, you can come volunteer, and we'll find you a place to stay. We'll find a place to put you up. We have people that have just transformed their homes into bunks. So,
Okay.
just reach out. We will find you a place to stay. And we are committed for those that come now, like, you will have a job to do, and you'll know what that is, and you'll be able to
Yeah.
get it done. And you won't show up somewhere where another team already is, and all those types of things that were happening initially.
That's great. Broadly, what is it job skills or human skills, or what is it other than money? Obviously, money is going to fix a lot of that. In our case, crypto. And there is a link down below. There will be a link where you can donate. When I told everybody Thursday night that I was going to be doing this show, there was people that actually texted me and said, I want to donate now, before she's on. How can I do that? So we had to set that up this week. But
Joanne has been great. Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, I'm sure it's never enough, right? You know what I mean? It's
right.
like, I wish we could do more, but what are job skills? Like, if you're, I don't know, a roofer or a paver, what is it that you really is in demand, or is it all of it?
All of the above on that, right? I mean, roofers. I need a roofer right now to help this guy, Jim Davis, who is a contractor himself, but I don't think he feels right even fixing his own home right now. He's out helping other people. And so, but we need roofers. We need all the specialty construction folks. We need a stream conservationist reorganization. I mean, because streams and creeks and rivers have moved. I mean, but we also need just people who can be armchair warriors that actually can just take phone calls and help, do logistics. Because, like, I don't care if you're in California, I guarantee you could help Mindy in Weaverville, North Carolina, with all the phone calls she's getting all day long. And then because she's trying to coordinate getting that refrigerated truck, because she's the one that's getting that donation from Tyson. And so we need people that can just do that, can sit behind their keyboards and can help us, just with logistics and organization. And so anything. And if you just can, pick up trash, that's another thing. We have so much trash, so really, I mean, if you think about just rebuilding a community from the ground up, Alan, it would take everybody, right? It would take all skill sets. And that's exactly what we need. We need everything. Yeah. So it's crazy.
No job too small, really, is it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You mentioned, Melody, building this database, and this is one of those things. It's like, it's tough to make positives and tough to look at. It's like, you're creating a network now that is going to be a great strength to us if something else does happen, or and it's currently happening now, and you need that strength and you need that help, and we want to be there for you, obviously. But in the future, it feels like this is something, if this has been such a poor national response, and it's a poor political response, this is something else that we're all going to need to make together. Like you said, to know your neighbor, and to have a plan of your area, and if something what would be the highest likelihood of something happening where you're at, whether it's a fire or a flood or a natural disaster. And so I'm so glad that you're taking up that you're taking on that mantle, and you're creating a database, and you're linking people together, and that's a strength and a skill set in itself that we hopefully all can keep preserving into the future.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you for doing what you're doing. It does not sound easy, but I think you're building something that is a future thing for all of us. We're doing it all right now together, just by bringing awareness of the need for it.
Right.
you probably want to be out in the field, but your technical skills are probably so valuable that it must consume your whole day. I mean, I can't even imagine. I know you have a real estate channel as well. So any of you that have not checked into Melody's channel, she has a real estate channel. It's really what I call upper level thinking with real estate. It's not like somebody who's, down here selling a condo. It's really, if you want to know about banking, if you want to know what's really happening in the world between she and Travis, they have nailed it in the last couple of years, what's going on with real estate. And I really recommend both those channels. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what is it, Nick?
Nicholas?
Nick. Yeah, he's doing some work on the side that is mind-blowing about what's going on in some of our taxes, which I hope one day is going to get uncovered.
Oh, Mitch Fexler. Yeah, Mitch Fexler. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch's work on that is revolutionary, in my opinion, because it goes to what we were talking about earlier, some of the financial fraud, I guess we want to use, or misuse or allocation of funds that you and I have been paid through the nose, the public from the bottom up, and all the money goes to the top, and it seems to not get to the people. And this, when a hurricane comes along, it completely exposes the inadequacies of the entire system. Yes. And how easily these people can manipulate funds for their own little, whatever it is, pork fat deal over here in the bill, but they don't seem to take care when we need it.
That's right.
And I'm hoping this new government coming forward with people like Elon and others who have I think he cares about humanity. It seems. I'd like to believe that until he proves me wrong. And then I would like to also believe that smarter people in the room, not political people in the room, is going to be beneficial. Yeah, going forward. I hope so. I have a sense of it.
We hope.
Yeah, because politics, that whole politics thing that you went through and after that hurricane is, like you mentioned, is complete nonsense. It's not a factor. It does. When somebody's in a stream and you're pulling them out and they're half dead, you don't ask them if they're a Republican or a Democrat.
That's right.
And it's absurd.
It's absurd. And day one, it was politicized. Day one, people were saying that's Trump's lies, and I was like, how could it already be Trump's lies? Like we're not even past day one. So. It's been wild to see, Alan. And, I thought I was pretty aware and awake and, understood, because what Travis and I did, people said there was no housing inventory. I started driving around, looking and seeing all the housing inventory. And then I joined up with Travis. And so, it was a different thing, but I could tell that we were being lied to. The media was lying to us with a very specific agenda. And so, I've dove into all of that, but to see this at this scale, it just does not make sense. And it really doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, Robert in the chat was saying, he was a combat vet, and my message is what he understood as well. It's like, there is no one coming to rescue us, and you have to become more resilient. And I think, what has happened through social media, through all kinds of different, I don't brainwashing. I think we've been taught not that we don't like each other. That's just not true. It's just not true. We absolutely love each other. We can be a community. We've been told we're helpless. We've pushed learned helplessness out to everyone. The thing is, guys, they're not coming. I don't care what they've promised. You have got to learn how to take care of you and your community. And by the way, FEMA will give you a stat that 95% of counties have flooded in the country. Now, that's not the whole county, but that's how dangerous flooding is. And only 5% of Americans have flood insurance. And so you may think these people in Asheville had no reason to believe that a hurricane would land there. And these folks had no warning, like zero warning. I mean, this guy that I just interviewed just said, well, when I saw the water coming from the others, like over the hill, because he was down near the creek, he's like, that's when I knew I had to go, and an older gentleman that threw his bag, he was on a second floor of an apartment complex. This was down in Swannanoa. This older gentleman had to throw his bag up over the water, like to get out and swim. I mean, it's just, these stories are insane, and no one had any warning at all. And in fact, in some of these areas, cell went down, and that was the entire way that you would have gotten a text or anything like that. So
yeah, any sort of alert. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's just, and we're not being told the truth about the loss of life. I can tell you that absolutely. I don't know why that is. And I don't know that we'll ever know. In the 1927 Mississippi flood, thousands died there as well. The official count's like 250. I mean, I don't know why, we don't know, but this is a much bigger event than what folks are understanding. So,
yeah, they're not really good with those numbers at all, are they? Yeah, like the millions that died in Baghdad. It's like, well, they don't even talk about that. Like,
that's right.
They don't even bring up the casualties. Like,
right.
Anyway,
right.
So it is the Christmas time of year, as we all know. So I really urge everybody, and that's really when I found out that we could do this right before Christmas, I thought, wow, what a perfect time for everybody to say, hey, you know what? I didn't get a chance to do this or that for my neighbors or with my neighbors. But now your neighbor can be in Tennessee or North Carolina, and you can reach out and you can help people, and you can help people that clearly care. You're not giving this money to the Red Cross, to some number that you don't know about. You're giving it to Melanie's people. And I can tell you her background financially and banking and all she does, she's going to know where every penny of that what you donate goes to.
Yes.
That's who she is.
Yes.
And it's so refreshing because you finally now have a place to feel good. I know where every penny of what I did went to, and the kids and the friend, family. They're our family. We talk about the XRP family all the time. These people are our family. Yeah. So
we do love each other. We do love each other. The success that we've had building this community, I think it's all predicated on that idea that you said, Melody, is we care about each other. We love each other. We've tried to do it in a way that builds trust. And, we're in the business of violating that trust. It's how do you build it? How do you get smarter? And, if you do something smart, you share it.
Right.
You give it away. And so thank you for giving your time to all of us, in that way, because it's somebody that's been affected, all of us, we do. And so, and now
so grateful to you guys.
We're sharing in a way where we know a much greater deal about it. And that's why I'm excited that we have networks and communities like this and kind of the new media, right? Where we get to actually talk about what matters to people.
That's right. And it's such an honor, right? It really is such an honor.
Oh, yeah. I don't take my my small little channel lightly at all. I don't. It is a force for good. And social media is fixing a lot of the, I'm going to just call them lies that the media tells. And not all of social media is true, and not all of it should be taken as gospel. But I'm going to say that if you know the person and you've been watching their channel for a long time, you can see what's in their heart. Right. And what's real. And you can resonate with people. And we have such an incredible platform, and your channel is amazing. And I really, really am so happy to be able to do a channel with my son. What a blessing. in life. So it's so much fun. I really
That's
enjoy
awesome.
what. Yeah.
Yeah. So really lucky to be here with you too right now.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it really
thank you
is.
for being in on this one. Everybody who's in chat.
Yep.
Yeah, love you all.
Yes.
When things like this come up for all of you, we need to talk about it. We need to get into it. And it's cool because we're all building a community, and with Melody, this is the crew right here.
Right.
It's everybody's welcome, and we have people from all over the world who even tune into this live chat.
That's so
And
cool.
it's so cool
It's
that
fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
they get to, know what's going on, and talk about the real things.
Yeah.
Such an honor for you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Thanks, Melody. Melody, is there anything you would like to say or in closing about what your hopes are and where you think this could go, with maybe some, some hope for all of us that maybe just aren't able to get out there and help out, but we could maybe donate or maybe even get out there. Maybe Brent and I could plan a vacation out that direction, a workcation, if you will.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Because I do think we need manpower. We need heavy machinery too. Like, I cannot tell you, one of the things that's so frustrating to me right now is that, I drove across the country over 10,000 miles looking at housing markets, right? And what I saw were just overflow lots for RVs, overflow lots for cars and trucks, overflow lots for bulldozers, because we just went crazy with our COVID fever dreams and mass producing this stuff, but yet none of these people are donating them. And all these people need, like, okay, we got a skid steer and we got a dump trailer, but now we need a big truck to pull it. Well, why can't one of these car dealerships just donate it? And I think maybe, I think probably the area right where I am is pretty tapped out, but this is what I would encourage people to do as well. Just call up those people and say, hey, why don't you give me one of those? You see them when you drive past their lots. Do you think they're going to sell all those cars? They're not going to, or all those RVs. And I just think about that. Like, those RVs could be housing volunteers. They could be housing folks that are in these hot tents right now, that even though you can warm that sucker up when the wind comes, I mean, that's just no fun, sleeping in that thing, So I am hopeful. I'm hopeful because what I'm seeing right now are the people that are going to stay, and the people that aren't going to get kind of blown about by the winds of the chaos that were here initially. And you're starting to see the true heroes, because I think with any of these types of disasters, people get in over their heads. They do a good thing, they get told they're a hero, their egos kind of go nuts. And we're just all human, put it that way. Like, we're all human. And so I'm hopeful right now, because I think that we now have a better understanding of the needs than we did initially. And you can get behind some of these barricades and really see it. And so I do think we've got a lot of the right people here now that can do this work. And it's just a matter of bringing them together. And so I just want to say too, though, Alan, how thankful I am for your community, and the fact that, you bringing me here because your community and their heart. And so, thank you for what you guys have built and for how you've helped. And just sometimes, guys, just having somebody listen to the craziness you've been living is a blessing, And so today has been a blessing for me, because there's not a lot of people I can talk to about this. And it's hard, when you think about what you're writing about, what you're doing, people's focus is not typically going to be on this type of stuff. And so, it's thank you for this platform to talk about this today. It means a lot.
Well, you're certainly welcome, and it's the least we could do. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get back. I was like, oh, it has been a long time. I was like, well, we should get her back on for sure. But I think it was perfect timing right before the holidays.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
And just it is an opportunity for all of us to think of others. And it is an incredible time of year to do that. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
well, son, what do you think? Shall we end this on a brighter note, or shall we end this on a peaceful, happy note? I
I
don't
don't.
know.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking.
Let's end today with Melody for sure. She is our bright note. Look at her.
I know, right?
You
Yeah.
know what you're doing. We're so thankful for you. I mean, that's the real work that's to be done in this world, is to help other people. There's nothing that feels better, in my opinion, than helping others or being kind and gracious, and that we have those opportunities now too. You know, we're not just sitting here trying to help everybody hang on to their crypto. You know, it's what other things can we do in this world and use our platform to achieve together. And there's no amount of sacrifice or giving or any of that, you know, my dad and I have been so good with it. It's like, how do we keep expanding? How do we keep building on it? How do we create new opportunities? But how do you stay open and listen to the opportunities that are coming?
Yeah.
And I know it's such hard work for you and what you're doing right now, but like we see it as somebody like Melody, who has a great knowledge of banking and tech and has a big heart and wants to help others. You know, that's a whole nother strong arm or appendage that we have now, to go forward and work with. And so anybody in here, anybody of the crew, or elsewhere who sees this video, you know, come to us with those things. Like, let's leave it in the chat. Through our website, you have our contacts. You know, these kinds of videos are what Sunday Live should be about on this channel. You know, what else is going on in the world that's very important?
I something just came to me, and I just got off the phone with another content creator the other day, and they were asking me to be a guest speaker in Florida in March. And as flattering as it is, and I would get to meet everybody in the XRP group that's going to be there, 400 or 500 people are going to be there. I'm not so sure that going to go see Melody might not be more important.
That would be amazing.
So,
that would be amazing.
I'm thinking, I got to fly east. I think I could probably be better use out there. So, yeah, they can listen to me speak any other time of the year. So I'm thinking maybe that's a great idea. So Melody, you and I should probably stay together and stay connected. And
Absolutely.
maybe I can get all the people that live in the Carolina area to maybe just come hang out as we do meetups.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we could do a meetup. Yeah. That would be, absolutely.
I think I need to work on that.
That sounds
much more important than Florida, I believe.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We would love that. Love it.
All right, guys. I look forward to that. That'd be a lot of fun to meet you. And is Travis out there as well, or is Travis in Texas?
Well, he just flew back for Christmas, but his truck is still here, so he's coming back. I mean, he has been he's been in the boats, he's been all in it. And I should say that, you know, I'm the one here talking about it, but the real heroes are those people out there every single day in those boats and those volunteers and you know, so there's so many, and they don't have time to do YouTube videos, right? Because they're so busy. So I want to give a shout out because I mean, they have just unbelievable work. But yeah, Travis will be back in a few days. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am a boat captain, by the way.
Well, we could
I'm a yacht captain by trade. So
one thing we need are sonar specialists as well. One thing I just wanted to mention, we really do. If anybody knows any sonar specialists, that would be very helpful for clearing some of these areas where basically we can clear it as being completely searched. So
yeah,
sorry.
Okay. That's fantastic. No, that's great. I'm loving it. And I know we were talking about, I was just in Alabama 4 or 5 months ago, and we were talking about doing a meetup just a little further north. And that was prior to the hurricane. So it was like, well, okay. And then it was like, well, that's a really good reason to do a meetup, and maybe get some volunteers together.
Would be awesome.
It's not too late, everybody. Okay.
It won't 2 years, guys, at least. So it'll never be.
I would imagine. I would imagine. Yeah. And I can't bring a boat with me, but I can drive a boat. There's not a boat I can't drive.
We got boats.
Or help with, for sure. Deck work or whatever. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys. With that, I think we're out of here. Let's thank you again, Melody, for coming. And you will be back, and you will be. We're looking forward to having you back on.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you out there. We love you, and thank you for your support for us and for Melody. Appreciate you.